kerjasama antara dua negara jiran, Malaysia dan juga Singapura, begitu semakin baik, ya. Apatah lagi ya, negeri Johor berjiran dengan berjiran dengan Johor itu sendiri, dan seperti mana yang dinyatakan oleh YB Rafizi, ya, perdagangan bebas antara Johor dan juga Singapura, dan ini boleh memajukan lagi kedua buah negara. Jadi sahabat semua, kita mau mendengar ucapan daripada Ketua atau Menteri Besar Johor dan juga Timbalan Perdana Menteri Singapura. Jadi tanpa membuang masa, ayo kita tonton bersama.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam maju Johor, salam Malaysia Madani. His Excellency Mr. Gan Kim Yong, Deputy Prime Minister of Singapore and Minister of Trade and Industry. Yang berhormat Senator Tengku Datuk Seri Utama Zafrul Abdul Aziz, Minister of Investments, Trade of Malaysia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone to the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, JSSEZ, Joint Business and Investment Forum. Your presence here on a Monday morning is a real testament of friendship. So thank you very much to the more than 1,000 of you for being here today. We see this as a reflection of the strong support and shared interests of both sides of the causeway for the JSSEZ. I am especially grateful to DPM Gan Kim Yong for being here with us today, despite his busy schedule with election season looming upon him. I know the campaign period only begins on the 23rd of April, but everyone, especially Malaysians, know how eager our friends across the causeway always are to get a head start when it comes to competitions of all sorts. So thank you very much, sir, for making time today. In fact, if your party is looking for a capable, handsome, hardworking, and smart Malay candidate, look no further, look to your left. Since his senatorship is finishing at the end of the year, my dear brother Tengku Zafrul is the perfect candidate. But you have to be quick though, because he is very much in demand by all parties in Malaysia. I'm a bit worried because Tengku Zafrul is going to speak after this. In all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, we wish our Singaporean friends the very best in the coming election. We understand how important political stability and policy consistency is for any country. Malaysia certainly learned this lesson from 2018 till 2022. Political instability is very costly. Malaysia and Singapore have worked well together. Let's continue this, especially in the backdrop of global uncertainties. Ladies and gentlemen, these days, it's often cliché to describe events like these as historic or a pivotal moment. But today truly is both, because it's the JSSEZ's first joint investment forum, and because it comes at an interesting time for both our countries and the world. It is yet another waypoint on the journey of collaboration between Malaysia and Singapore, one that will reshape the landscape of our region, enhancing connectivity, fostering innovation, and creating opportunities for businesses and communities alike. And so, what I'd like to do today is share some thoughts about where we stand now and the way ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, if it is true the old safe havens are eroded and investors are looking for new harbors, I would argue Johor has a track record to emerge as one. In 2024 alone, we secured 48.5 billion ringgit in approved investments, placing Johor firmly among Malaysia's top 3 investment destinations. Even more compelling, in the first quarter of 2025, thanks to Tengku Zafrul and his team, Johor has already recorded 27.4 billion ringgit in new investments, a powerful early signal of the momentum behind the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone. In fact, for the month of April alone, there is another 23 billion worth of projects in the pipeline. Alhamdulillah, these figures truly shows that Johor is the next engine of growth, not just for Malaysia, but for the region as a whole. And it reflects the trust that investors, both domestic and international, place in the JSSEZ. They see the potential of this initiative, the stability of our environment, and the unwavering spirit of progress that defines us. My sincerest thanks to all the believers of JSSEZ, especially MITI, MIDA, MOF, and the Singapore government. Ladies and gentlemen, towards this end, Johor is committed to ensuring that businesses and investors have everything they need to succeed. We have worked tirelessly and will continue to do so to create an environment that is not only welcoming but also efficient, transparent, and reliable. Through the establishment of the Invest Malaysia Facilitation Centre Johor, IMFCJ, we have streamlined our investment processes. With the Johor Superlane, JSL, we have introduced a fast-track mechanism that significantly reduces bureaucratic delays for priority investments. Since its launch, IMFCJ has handled 252 investment inquiries, with 42 high-impact projects now under accelerated processing. What used to take up to 24 months from briefing to operations can now be achieved in just 13 to 14 months, a time saving of almost 10 months. Companies such as Princeton Digital Group, WeWin, Mayora, just to name a few, have all benefited from the Johor Superlane. This is not just about efficiency, it is a clear signal to investors. Johor is serious, responsive, and ever ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say, the support we've gotten from our Singapore counterparts has been inspiring. As Prime Minister Lawrence Wong said in January this year, our message to investors is look at the complementaries between Johor and Singapore, because there are many advantages in coming here. Not Johor by itself, not Singapore by itself, but as an ecosystem that complements one another. There are many strengths that we can harness from both sides that will allow us to enhance our value proposition and make this much more competitive and attractive venue for businesses to operate from. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that as long as we remain united, we will be able to handle any crisis and meet the challenges ahead. there is a Chinese proverb which states, Wei qi, jiu she, chuan qi. I hope I got it right. Which means in every crisis, there is an opportunity. It is true the tariff issue is a crisis, but it also gives us the urgency we need to make JSSEZ a reality, and in turn do what we need to do to future-proof our economies. Towards this end, the Johor State Government would like to make two proposals towards strengthening the JSSEZ. First, we would like to suggest the creation of a Johor regulatory sandbox in the JSSEZ area. What this is, broadly, is the creation of a supervised, flexible environment for testing innovative technologies, policies, and business models, particularly sectors constrained by current regulations. We can start with the areas such as the Ibrahim Technopolis, IPTEC, Ladang Air Manis, and Forest City, to attract investments and foster cross-border innovation in areas such as fintech, smart logistics, renewable energy, and autonomous tech. Through time-limited regulatory exemptions, the sandbox will enable participating companies, universities, and consortiums to achieve faster development cycles, public-private collaboration, and real-world policy experimentation. Governance will involve key federal and state agencies via the IMFCJ, with eligibility focused on high-potential projects that meet strategic criteria. Second, we also would like to moot the creation of an ASEAN industrial park within the JSSEZ. It is envisioned that this park will be especially geared towards the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. The park will aim to attract strategic investments from RCEP member countries by focusing on high-value sectors such as advanced manufacturing, green technology, and the digital economy. It will drive technology transfer, boost competitiveness, and diversity supply chains across ASEAN region. The park should offer customized incentives. Where's my best friend, Mr. John Patrick from Ministry of Finance? Such as tax breaks, simplified talent mobility, and temporary relaxation of fund repatriation rules to make it highly attractive to foreign investors. The ASEAN Industrial Park is hence designed to stimulate economic growth and job creation in the JSSEZ. We trust these proposals will receive the necessary consideration and support from our federal and Singaporean colleagues. Let me assure you that the Johor State Government is committed to extending whatever is needed to see them realized. I pledge to co-chair monthly meetings with the MITI Minister, provided he's not been hijacked by Singapore, YB Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul, to maintain momentum and bilateral coordination on these initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let us take this opportunity to move forward, united in our vision. One vision, two nations, and a shared prosperity. Together, we will build a future that is brighter, more connected, and more inclusive. I thank you all once again for being here today. Thank you for believing in Johor and the potential of JSSEZ. Let us move forward hand in hand, Johor, Malaysia, and Singapore, as we shape the future of our region together. Sekian, terima kasih. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk On Hafiz Ghazi, for your inspiring, welcoming remarks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we shall welcome His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Gan For his keynote address, please be welcomed.
Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, Yang Berhormat Senator Tengku Zafrul, my good friend, Chief Minister of Johor, Yang Amat Berhormat Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi, my another good friend, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Thank you first for inviting me to join you today at the Joint Business and Investment Forum on the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone. Today's event takes place against the background of significant uncertainties and volatilities, not just for our respective economies, but also for the world economy and the rules-based economic order on which our businesses and economies depend on. Tension between the US and China have escalated sharply, with both countries imposing an escalatory tit-for-tat series of tariffs that have effectively choked off the trade between the two largest economies in the world. This will have significant implications on our businesses, many of whom are embedded deeply within the production and supply chains of both the US and China. We also do not know how negotiations between the US and countries on which it intends to impose reciprocal tariffs on will turn out. And we cannot rule out that some level of these reciprocal tariffs will be imposed on certain countries, which may in turn spark off retaliatory measures by these countries. These series of unilateral actions may also destabilize the existing rules-based multilateral trading order. If countries choose to trade with one another only on their own preferred terms, we will always be at the losing end and at the mercy of larger economies. But in every crisis, there will be opportunities, just like Menteri Besar mentioned just now. 危机就是转机. As businesses seek to reconfigure their production and supply chain arrangements, there will be new opportunities for those who are nimble and fast to adapt to the new landscape. Today's event is therefore both important and timely. Important because amidst a sharp rise in protectionism around the world, it demonstrates how like-minded countries can work with each other to overcome challenges facing us and unlock win-win benefits. And timely, because the JSSEZ presents an opportunity for businesses to explore how to strengthen their supply chains so that they can better respond to the volatilities and continue to grow their businesses. The JSSEZ builds on the strong, long-standing economic partnership between Malaysia and Singapore to open a new avenue, a new frontier of opportunities for businesses. And I'm glad to hear the announcements of the two initiatives by Menteri Besar. Some businesses in Singapore may choose to expand their capacity in the JSSEZ. For example, Akisen, a Singapore-based agri-tech company whom I just met, together with the Malaysian state-owned Johor Corporation subsidiary FarmBite, are jointly developing a smart indoor vertical farm in Nusajaya Tech Park that is expected to produce over 300 tons of leafy vegetables per annum. This farm will add to Akisen's existing capacity of vegetables from its indoor farm in Singapore. Others may choose to develop new capabilities in the JSSEZ. For example, AgroCorp, a Singapore-based global agri-commodity firm, and McMilk Snow Brand, one of the leading dairy companies in Japan, are jointly developing a facility in Tanjung Langsat to manufacture protein and starch products from climate-friendly crops like pulses. This facility will enable the production of 6,000 tons of cleaner tasting plant protein annually and enable the company to further its capabilities downstream in plant protein extraction. Businesses may also choose to twin their presence in both Singapore and Johor so that they can tap on their complementary strengths. South Korea's SPC Group is one such example. It has chosen to site its halal manufacturing plant in Johor while establishing a regional headquarters and innovation center in Singapore to drive its R&D in product development. We also hope that we can attract other new businesses that are not yet in Singapore or Malaysia to site their new investments in the GSSEZ. We will continue to strengthen the fundamentals of the GSSEZ in order to enhance its value proposition. Firstly, to improve the flow of goods and people between Singapore and Johor by simplifying our clearance processes and customs procedures. Second, to strengthen the business ecosystem by streamlining approval processes, investing in talent development, and establishing a single touch point for businesses. In particular, on the Singapore's end, MTI, together with Enterprise Singapore and EDB, have established a joint project office to support Singapore-based companies keen to expand and to do more in the GSSEZ. This will complement the Invest Malaysia Facilitation Centre, Johor, or IMFCJ, established by Malaysia. Thirdly, to strengthen our network of economic partnerships with like-minded nations and economic organizations such as within ASEAN and within CPTPP, as well as between ASEAN and CPTPP with other partners such as GCC and EU, so that we can open up new markets and supply chain flows for our businesses. At a time of significant volatility, uncertainty, and anxiety in the global economy, it is even more important that we team up with like-minded countries, double down on better connectivity and ease of doing business, and join hands with businesses and investors. This way, both Singapore and Malaysia can further bridge our economies through the GSSEZ and strengthen our supply chains so that we can be more dynamic and resilient together and continue to create good jobs for people of both countries and both regions across the causeway. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Gan, for that strategic and forward-looking keynote address.